Hello and welcome back to another episode of BattleCHAT, where you guys chill out and I talk about BattleCon concepts. In this episode, we're going to talk about getting new people into BattleCon. Now, many of you watching this video may be faced with this following scenario. You love BattleCon, but your friends don't want to play with you. Maybe they find other games more interesting, games like, Cards Against Humanity or Super Fight, and instead want to play those instead of the amazing game that is BattleCon. However, you know that BattleCon is a fun game and you want to share that experience with them. So how do you convince these people to play BattleCon with you? Now, before we get into this, I want to make you guys realize one thing. That when you try to sell BattleCon, don't tell the people the things about BattleCon that you like. As somebody who's probably played BattleCon before, most of the things that you like will be things that these people don't care about. Maybe you're gonna say, hey, I really like the entire rock, paper, scissors mechanic, or I like the base pentagon, or I like the finisher system, or I like the mind games, or the footsies, or the spacing. None of these matter when convincing people to play BattleCon for the first time, especially if they're not really hardcore gamers or into fighting games. So in that sense, you have to understand that just because it's something about BattleCon that you love doesn't mean that it will be a good thing to convince other people to play BattleCon. I have many times used the No Randomness Factor as a way to appeal to people into playing BattleCon, because one of BattleCon's biggest appeals to me is that there is no randomness. It's all deterministic because you know what's in your opponent's hand and you know what's in yours. Nothing is truly random in this game, and so it's a game of skill and utter skill. So I use that to advertise BattleCon to some of my friends, but it usually comes off to no effect. They usually don't really care that I said it, or maybe just passed by it. It's not really that important to them, because at the end of the day, not everybody values the same things that you do. So if you know your friends, and you know that the thing that you really like about BattleCon is really just a thing that you like, and not the thing that everybody would like, do try to not use that when convincing them, because it just makes the game seem more complicated than it already is. So, in the end, how do you convince someone to play BattleCon? Well, I believe that this group is divided into two. Not to say that there are only two groups, but that there are many groups, but for the sake of argument, let's just say that there are two groups. People who know fighting games, and people who don't. People who know fighting games are really easy to get into BattleCon, because essentially, BattleCon encompasses the fighting game experience very well in a 1-hour experience. Unlike many games that purport to be fighting game, board game type games, BattleCon really encompasses some of the parts of fighting games that are truly amazing, because some games tend to focus on the combo system, or character fighters, or stuff like that. And usually, though that is in a fighting game, combos aren't really what fighting games are about. At high levels of play, fighting games are usually about footsies, reads, spacing, and knowing what moves to play at the correct times. This is the ethos of BattleCon. This is the essence of what BattleCon is. Footsies, spacing, and attack management. All of these come together to make BattleCon the experience that it is, and most fighting game fans will absolutely love to hear that that aspect of the game is basically represented in BattleCon. And if that's not enough to convince them, just tell them it's a fighting game that is a board game. Most of the time, that's more than enough to convince these people to even try it once. However, what about the people who don't know anything about fighting games or hate fighting games? Well, if we're drawing from fighting games and saying that BattleCon is essentially a board game fighting game, we must look at how fighting games are able to attract new players into playing them. Now let's look at one of the most popular fighting games out on the market, Super Smash Bros. If you were to tell me that Super Smash Bros. Is popular because of its mechanics, although I wouldn't outright say you're wrong, I wouldn't outright say you're correct either. Because I believe that what makes Super Smash Bros. Interesting and very appealing to a lot of people, fighting game players and non-fighting game players alike, is the fact that people are able to play as some of their favorite characters that they know from other series. In fact, the inclusion of Super Mario alone should be enough to convince some kids or some random people to try Super Smash Bros. Once because they get to play as Mario, or play as Princess Peach, or play as Samus, or play as Kirby. These characters are well known and beloved by many, and they want to play them because they think that these characters are cool. However, what if the characters that you're trying to get people to play as aren't really that popular? What if they're only for this universe, specifically the Indies universe? What then? Well, BattleCon's rosters are actually filled to the brim with characters that kind of appeal to almost anyone. Get anyone in the world and have them pick a BattleCon character from the available 60 characters that we have right now, and more often than not, at least one of those characters will click with them. Maybe because they like the way the character looks, maybe they like the character's art, maybe they think the character's cute, maybe they think the character looks awesome, maybe they think that the character's unique ability looks great. Whatever the case is, on a very superficial level, a lot of people can get attached to characters just based off how they look or what their main theme or mechanics are. If you tell somebody who likes robots that Cadenza's a robot whose ability it is to shrug off damage for no reason, you'll probably convince them to play BattleCon just so that they can play Cadenza. And this is really how I got other people into playing BattleCon, by telling them about awesome characters that they may or may not like. So with that in mind, getting someone to play BattleCon is almost as easy as just finding the right character for them. And after they get the first taste of playing with that character, it'll probably be history from that point on. But hey, that's just my opinion, and that's just me having a little battle chat. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, do put them in the comments section down below, because I'd love to read them. And if you guys have your own opinions, maybe you think that character selection isn't really the best way to get people into BattleCon, or maybe there are other ways that you want to share. Do put it in the comment section down below, because I'm sure that other people would love to hear about those as well. And finally, if you guys have any more suggested topics, do put them in the comment section down below, because they will become the topic for a future video. Without much else to say, thanks for watching, and good night.